Guys, live from Los Angeles. Hope you guys are doing good out there. Hope you guys doing great. I've been away for a minute. I've just been busy with some other things I've had to do during my day, so I just haven't really been organized to make a video. And honestly, I'm not even organized right now as I'm doing this live stream. I don't have a my laptop or anything on me right now, so I'm honestly just winging this. But yeah, there's just so many things to talk about. It's the holidays. Today's what, December, what is it, 14 or 15? It's the 15th actually today. Or no, well, now right now it's the 16th, considering it's past midnight here as of Los Angeles. But yeah, there's just so much going on. If we're talking about the UFC world, that is, there's a lot going on there. There's just so much to talk about, and just so many different topics. And then, real life, and then, looks like Joe Biden is gonna be the president. So that's us gonna be seeing the inauguration of that when it happens, and then there's also what else is there? There's there's the lockdown right now. So we'll see how long this one lasts here in Los Angeles specifically. But nonetheless, I think everything is gonna turn out just fine. The vaccines are out, so everything is going good. Everything is going great. Um, But yeah, I want to talk about cryptocurrency as well. Bitcoin's at 19.4 right now, and I'm honestly really happy. I've always actually said that we will definitely see 16,000, and then the sharp decline to about 8 or 7,000, and I still think we're gonna see 8 or 7,000. But I still didn't think that we would see 19.4. But nonetheless, yeah, I'm gonna do a video on cryptocurrency tomorrow entirely. So I still haven't chosen which topic to do. I'm probably gonna do it on the Bitcoin price and why it's so high right now. But um yeah, let's jump into what happened this past Saturday. You know, at the UFC event. What was it? 256? I can't even remember. I don't have my computer or anything. I'm just saying this off the top of my head. So yeah, pretty much the one where it was, Davis and Figueiredo versus what was it? Alex Moreno, the Mexican dude. But yeah, nonetheless, that was an excellent fight. The Mexican guy definitely brought it on. I don't want to say the name because I honestly didn't get it. I wanted to talk more about the co-main event and more specifically about Tony Ferguson in this video. But I'll probably do an entire video on the main event of this card as well. So, but yeah, I mean, Davis and Figueiredo won, but he barely won. The Mexican guy definitely was a beast. And just like Dana White said, he's a Mexican guy from Mexico that fights like a Mexican. Which is honestly, as a fan of the UFC, always, entertaining to see, people of different backgrounds coming in and, you know, uh, showcasing their own fight style. So, definitely always fun to watch. But yeah, let's talk about the co-main event: Tony Ferguson versus Charles Oliveira. Oh my God, Tony Ferguson! Oh no, I honestly thought he was gonna win this one. I actually wanted to bet that night. I wanted to put money on Tony Ferguson and then on Davis and Figueiredo as the main event, but I just backed off. I'm like, I'll just decide to just watch the fights instead and just hang out. But um yeah, no, I mean the Tony Ferguson and Charles Oliveira fight, if you're a Tony Ferguson fan, then there were some very gruesome moments in that fight, and I'll get to that way later. But yeah, the first thing I want to say is wow, Charles Oliveira is indeed a beast. So just to get that out of the way, Charles Oliveira, is someone that's very skillful. He, you know, came in that night. He beat Tony up everywhere. In the first round, they were clipping each other. If you guys actually noticed in the first 2 minutes, they were both clipping each other pretty hard. But it looked like as the fight progressed, that Tony Ferguson actually, um, you know, started to decline, and then that's when Charles Oliveira started to gain more momentum and you know started to win the rounds, declaring him the victor in that fight. But yeah, Tony Ferguson, you know what it is? I feel like he took too much damage. He got beat on the ground where I thought he wouldn't have, but um, I mean, Tony is, the guy's been away for a while. He hasn't had any fights. He's had some fights, fall apart considering um him and Khabib were set to fight several times that didn't really take place. So, I'm sure Tony's had a, rough time waiting and waiting. So, whenever it came to fight this time around, I wouldn't have been surprised if the guy was just exhausted. So, um, there's multiple factors as to why Tony Ferguson could have lost, but obviously, I'm not gonna discount anything from Charles Oliveira because the guy's, beast. He came in there, he proved it. He proved it against, a top five guy. So, Tony Ferguson, he's lost two fights in a row now. He's lost to Justin Gaethje, and now he's lost to Charles Oliveira. So, at this point, the question is, you know, beginning to shine as is what's next for Tony Ferguson, and what I can say as a fan, as someone that's just watching from afar, I can easily say that he can't lose another fight or else he's gonna be in trouble. I mean, I know that the UFC is in the process of clearing a lot of their old a lot of their fighters that have been there for a while, and especially those that are on a losing streak. But I do want to say that if Tony Ferguson loses another fight and then he loses a fourth one, I feel like if he loses a fourth one, he's gonna get kicked out of the UFC because I feel like at this point the UFC is just so competitive to the point where they don't really need people losing four times in a row, just to stick around and just fight for the sake of fighting. Um, and I made a video on this topic several weeks ago as to what was going on in the UFC and what they need to do to get back on track. And one of the main things I said was they lost the nature of competitiveness because obviously once Connor came in and started doing the big fights, it was all about the money shows, and the whole idea of the competition was gone, and then there was more weight, people jumping more weight classes, you know um champions fighting champions, so all sorts of stuff that drove away the company from the competitive aspect of the nature and fighting and the sport. So they're obviously bringing that back now, and I think that's an excellent thing. And good for them that they capitalized on the opportunity to make money on the big fights that they were able to put on. And I think the fights that they have been putting on is great, and I think the company is doing a great job. So shout out to the UFC. But yeah, Tony Ferguson. I want to talk a little bit more about Tony Ferguson's performance in this fight. Um, I mean, every time, you know what the thing is on the feet, they were just striking each other, but every time they went to the ground, Charles Oliveira was just on top of them. So, you know, the first round, they were clipping each other hard, but then eventually, I think I can't remember exactly if that was the round where Tony Ferguson went down at the end, but I know Tony Ferguson, was on his back, and Charles Oliveira was on top of him, and then I know that Oliveira was trying to get some submissions on him, and I forget which round it was, whether it was the first or the second round, when Charles Oliveira had Tony Ferguson in that nasty, oh my god, gruesome armbar. And for those that have watched the fight, I saw the armbar Charles Oliveira, pretty much did to Tony Ferguson. Oh my god, it's very difficult to watch. Tony Ferguson didn't tap, and then whenever I saw whenever I saw that happen, that was towards the end of the round. I forget whether it was the first round or the second round. Um, but I know that Tony's arm was gone, and whenever I saw how far back Charles Oliveira pulled Tony's arm back in the armbar, um and then Charles Oliveira eventually put it under his shoulder to make it more painful for Tony Ferguson, so so he can snap it more back pretty much, which is absolutely, oh my god, I can't even believe Charles Oliveira thought of doing that. Like, wow, like, I guess anything to get a win, I'm not even sure how their mindset is at that point, whenever they're just in the fight, and have all that adrenaline pumping through them. But um it's just so absolutely amazing as to how Charles Oliver actually put Tony Ferguson's arm under his armpit, and leaned back with it, and that was just, and the fact that Tony didn't tap, I was like, wow, I was like, whoa, bro, props to you, man. I'm not sure how that arm is gonna do now. I'm not even sure how it's gonna heal the way that it was extended, but all I knew, and I was just confident, and the results obviously proved it, was the fact that I knew that Tony Ferguson was done after that, after not tapping to that arm out, because I knew his arm was out. And hey, if your arm is out, you're not gonna win a fight. You're not gonna win a fight with one arm. Especially when there's 2 rounds to go. So, yeah, you guys can find that footage on YouTube, but it was absolutely nasty. I think that's ultimately what cost Tony Ferguson this fight. I don't think he was doing all too bad on the feet in the first round, but whenever they went to the ground, eventually Charles Oliveira got the better of him, got the better position of him, and then he pulled off the armbar, and that armbar, and the way that he was actually able to pull it off, anybody would have tapped. Anybody would have tapped. Just like Dana White said, 10 out of 10 people would have tapped. I would have tapped, had like, geez, I would have tapped 80%, not going into that armbar, because just knowing, my opponent has the position on me and he's gonna break my arm. I'm not gonna, attempt losing my arm, for the entirety of my career, because we don't even know how Tony Ferguson is gonna recover from, Charles Oliveira putting his arm under his armpit and leaning back with it, um in an arm lock. So armbar. So yeah, that was absolutely nasty. You guys can find the footage on the YouTube search. So if you guys just type in Charles Oliveira, you know, armbar Tony Ferguson, I'm sure it'll come up. But yeah, it was absolutely gruesome. It's difficult to watch, but that's the sport of mixed martial arts. It's just amazing how powerful Tony's mindset is as to how he was just, not going to tap, and he didn't. The guy didn't tap. He was still in the fight, but Joe Rogan called it out. John Anik obviously called it out too. I even said it to myself. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way Tony Ferguson's arm is okay going into these next rounds. And I knew just how easily the way Charles Oliveira was able to get Tony to the ground after those things. What do you call it? After that first round, when his arm was blown, I knew that his arm was blown, and I knew that he wasn't able to operate. And yeah, that I'm gonna just come out and say that that specific position Tony Ferguson, got himself into, where he got his arm pretty much locked in an armbar by Charles Oliveira, pretty much cost him the fight. That was pretty much it. Because Tony wasn't doing all that bad on the, on the stand up while they were standing up, honestly speaking. But um yeah, I mean, you do that to anybody's arm, they're finished. So um, congrats to Charles Oliveira, but I just want to come out and say that yeah, Tony Ferguson can't lose another fight going forward, because that's two in a row. Because he loses another one, then he's gonna be under a lot of pressure and stress to win, his fourth fight, because if he doesn't, then that would be four in a row, and I'm sure that would be in a very troubling position for him. So that's all I got for this time, guys. We'll see. What happens in the UFC next. I'm gonna do another video on the main event of the Davison and the Mexican guy. I don't know his name, so I'm just gonna call him the Mexican guy for this video. But yeah, that guy, the Mexican dude, was obviously beast. He was in the fight the whole time. He was just like one step short. But nonetheless, I'm gonna do an entire video on that. So with that said, guys, be careful out there. There's still 2 weeks left. 2020 isn't over yet. We live in good and wicked times, both at the same time. So like the video, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and drop some comments and let me know what you guys thought about the Tony Ferguson and Charles Oliveira fight. So until next time, guys, peace, and I'll see you. Bye bye.